You're listening to the Racing Virginia podcast. Now, here are your hosts.
I'm Dave C.
And I am Brandon Brown.
And this is the Racing Virginia podcast, if you didn't know already.
I think they might have.
I
heard it.
Brandon Brown, not the NASCAR.
Not the NASCAR driver.
I got to put that in there.
Until I'm big enough, I'm just going to still have to preface that with the disclaimer there.
Man, we got a good show today.
Yeah, we do.
We got a really good show. Got our youngest guest of to date.
Yep.
Mr. Atley Wiese. And I got to play you something real quick.
Okay.
Okay, because this is going to blow your mind, Brandon. Okay?
All right.
Let's
ready? Hear it.
Welcome, everyone, to Intensity Broadcasting for coverage of the Short Track Superstock Series season finale here at Langley Speedway in Hampton, Virginia. This race is hosted by the iRacing Superstock League and sponsored by Docs Gaming LLC in the Race for Christ 250. Tonight, we'll see if these drivers can conquer Langley Speedway, and as it's a battle for the championship. I am Atley Wiese, and I will be the broadcaster for tonight.
Atley Atman. That was good.
He races a junior champ kart at Langley Speedway for the Hampton Roads Karting Club, and he broadcasts 6 nights a week. So we're going to have him on, talk to him. I think you're going to be super impressed with him.
Very cool. I can relate to that so much.
That's so cool, isn't it?
Yeah, that's amazing.
That dude's 12 years old, and you just heard him. He killed it. He killed it. And we're going to have the president of Colleague Racing, Mr. Chris Rice, on the show again.
He had some big news the other day, didn't he?
Some huge news, man. I am stoked. Jeb Burton gets a full-time ride. We told him that it was going to pay off for him.
All that hard work for Jeb.
I was a little nervous when Junior Motorsports didn't announce that he was going to be in the car. That Josh Berry was going to take over at least the first half of the season, but he's worked really hard. He's got a lot of good partners with him, and this is to be named full-time driver and know he's got 33 races with them.
To build that cohesion and run for a championship, because that is a championship level team.
Yes, it is. And Jeb's been in some good stuff. He had a lot of bad luck this year. I think he was in the wrong place at the wrong time a lot of times.
Yep.
Or equipment failure.
That 8 car had such bad luck.
And it was
the
same thing with him. Hemrick.
Just a cursed car. But he's going into the car that had the best average finish over the course of the season last year in that 10 car that Ross Chastain piloted. And I think he's going to do a phenomenal job. If you haven't seen it already, go to Colleague Racing social media and check out the video that they posted. It's fantastic.
Yeah, the emotion. It's awesome. And I saw a report with Chase, and we talked about this last week. Chase Elliott winning the championship is good for NASCAR. That's what we said.
Yeah, we did say that.
The engagement level on social media after he won went through the roof.
Yep. And I mean, that's not unsurprising.
No, he is the sport's most popular driver.
But like we said, that it can only be good for the sport when the most popular driver in the sport wins its highest prize. Really, really cool for Chase to win that and to push the sport to further heights.
Now, with that, there's also a lot of people, because they were testing the next gen car. So there's a lot of people on social media that were, the purist. And I mean, they showed the one lug nut, and I think the purists went nuts.
They went nuts.
They you see that? See what I did there?
Yeah.
And I did it. I didn't even know I did it.
Yeah, no, you didn't know. They went nuts. They want the traditional 5 lug out.
But look, they're trying with this car to make it so more people can come into the sport.
Yep.
And I think like the Marks team, the new Justin Marks.
Yes.
His new team coming in. I think he's coming in a year early, I think, just to get his feet wet.
Yep.
But
and they probably had those plans in the works before COVID and before the car got pushed back an entire year too.
Exactly. So, they were expecting the next gen car to be here, and you can't. It's hard to put. Once you got partners, it's hard to push everything back.
So they're coming in with the old stuff for a year, but to your point, the point is to get new blood and new teams.
We need more,
like Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan's team that's coming in into the sport, and that can only be good for it.
The next gen car is supposedly going to save the team's money. In the long run.
Yep. And in turn, hopefully driving, and we don't know this to be a fact, but driving the cost of operation down and allowing new sponsors or some former sponsors to come back into the sport at a lower price point, which can only be good for the sport as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what we need. I'd like to see more of our Virginia boys be able to get a chance at going and running Cup. They haven't said it. Is the next gen car going to come down to Xfinity?
I doubt it for right now. I think what's going to happen is you'll see kind of the same thing that happened with the Gen 6 car. They implemented like the COT into Cup, and then you saw changes in the Xfinity series over the course of several years. I'm going to guess that that's going to be the same thing with the next gen car.
Probably would be. I guess my guess would be probably the following year.
Yep.
But hey, in the long run, it would, I understand the purist.
Sure. Yeah.
But I also understand saving money.
And, advancing in because
it's not going to be on air jacks or anything.
No.
You're still going to have that guy come across to the other side with the jack and pump that thing up and.
But here's the thing, like about the purists. There's purists from every generation, and in my opinion, the best racing that ever happened was in the mid '90s, and that's just my opinion. Yeah. But you can't stay with that technology. Like technology advances, and you have to advance into the next generation. So you've got a sequential gearbox with 6 gears instead of 4. They did the digital dash a few years ago to get away from the analog dashes in Cup Series, and now they're advancing even more with the single lug, and that's gonna apparently it's not going to cut down pit stop time too much, but you're not going to see fines for missing one lug nut.
I did see a video, and I did hear the car sounds good. It's got a deep
billowy
rumble. Yeah, that deep rumble. So that's going to be cool. And I will say, let's change gears a little bit here, because I want to, before we get too long-winded, I want to talk about the post you did.
Yeah. I was going to try to segue into it, but
it's hard segue.
It's a hard segue, so let's not just do it. I posted. I was sitting there, and I wanted to just gauge, and I didn't know how the post was going to do, but I just simply posted a text post. What's your favorite track in Virginia? And why? I posted on Twitter, I posted on Facebook, and you guys blew it up. You all have opinions about what your favorite tracks are in the state of Virginia, and to no one's surprise, we talk about it all the time on here with the vast array of different tastes and different genres and different types of facilities that we have in this state. And it was a mixed bag of favorite tracks, and I want to read some of the responses. Dave, you'll like this one. The first response on Facebook from Preston Hutchins, and some of these people might be some folks that you might know.
I do.
Virginia Motor Speedway started going with my dad when they opened, and have raced there with 4 generations of my family involved.
Yes,
that's
absolutely.
one unique story.
Yeah, it's all, and that's what short track racing's all about, to be honest with you.
Yep. Nick Odell, VMS. Once again,
see?
One of the nicest and safest dirt tracks around. Randy Hunter, to go and watch a race at Martinsville. Just, because that's different. You had a couple people that raced at VMS, and you got a race fan that goes to Martinsville. You got South Boston. You got Wythe and Motor Mile. And
they got them all.
Yeah.
Dominion.
Langley Speedway been good. Ron Fox said Langley Speedway been going there for 34 years. I love that place.
Yeah, Dominion got some love. The drag strips got love.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, on Twitter, as soon as I posted, our boy Tyler behind the scenes at Virginia Motorsports Park, Race VMP. We might be this is from the Race VMP account at Virginia Motorsport. We might be biased, but 300 plus miles per hour nitro breathing top fuel dragsters are only seen here in the state of Virginia. That's a good reason to go to VMP each year.
I will say this: when we put our special events schedule together, one of the dates was June 5th, and I went into my bosses, Bill and Clark Sawyer, and I said, we do not want to do a race on that weekend. And they went, why? I said, because that's NHRA weekend at VMP.
Mm-hmm. And what did they say?
We're going to change the date.
Exactly. And that's what's so good about here at Racing Virginia is what we're trying to collaborate. And we don't want to put...
I think we move it to May 15th instead.
And that's what's so cool is because to piggyback on that, if you've never been to NHRA anywhere... Virginia or VMP is just phenomenal place to go watch a race. You want to go to NHRA. Yeah. It is a thing that you have to go experience at least once. Yes. And if you experience it once, you're going to want to do it again.
Yeah. I still, and it's been 20 plus years maybe, my first time at an NHRA event, and it was at VMP, and I remember it like it was yesterday.
Yep. It's an experience, isn't it?
It's super. I mean, it's such an experience. I mean, and those guys, the drivers, the competitors, man, they are so accommodating and I mean, to have someone like a John Force, come to a little radio show that I had back then. I was doing it live. For John Force to say yes, I'll come and be on your show, who would have thought?
Yeah, but that's the thing, and you wouldn't think because John Force is drag racing. Yeah, he is the top of the top of the drag racing world. Been around forever, done literally everything in drag racing. But that is.
Have you seen him on TikTok?
Oh my gosh, yes.
With the Peak Auto.
I have not seen that one yet. Yeah. I'm gonna have to go look at John Force's TikTok because that's apparently a thing.
It's Peak Peak Auto, and they're trying to teach him one of the dances.
Oh my gosh. I've seen John Force do a lot of things. I don't think I've seen John Force dance before.
It was hilarious. It was hilarious. Hey, well, we could sit here and talk about racing and stuff all day long, but we need to get this show rolling. So all right, let's go to the phone lines and let's talk to our first guest.
Let's do it.
As promised in the open, we have our youngest driver to date. Our youngest. Okay. And he is 12 years old. He's a racer. He races, I think, Junior Champ Card is what he was racing now, and he is an aspiring announcer. We're gonna delve in. Look, Brandon's face is like, what? This cat, I'm telling you what. For being 12 years old, he knows exactly what he's doing on the mic. I think he does 6 nights a week of iRacing. Of course, he is Mr. Atley Wiese. How you doing, Atley?
I'm doing good. Excited to be on here tonight or today.
Sweet. I love the energy.
I love the energy. Gosh, I love the energy. First of all, let's talk a little bit about you as a racer. I talked to your dad, and he said that really your love for racing started at the ripe old age of 4 years old.
That is correct. I mean, it started off as a seed watching my grandfather watch NASCAR at the track. At first, I didn't really know what the sport was. When I was little, I was very interested in Monster Jam, and I can't imagine doing that right now after racing. And then the seed began to grow, going to racetracks. I went to a Wheeling Southern Modified race in 2014, got to see that, and that's where it really all started, and it grew from there.
Your dad said also that you're like a historian. You love the history of NASCAR.
It's exciting to see how a sport grew from something so little as moonshine running it's so cool to see how it's grown from that and all the big drivers that have gone to become great champions in the sport. I think it's just something really cool to study and research about.
He knows his stuff. I love this because I am out of your same mold, sir. So I can definitely appreciate your knowledge of the sport. So what made you started to study it and you started to love it, but what made you want to sit behind a microphone and talk about it?
Well, it all started off, I have a colored carpet in my room, and that colored carpet eventually turned into a racetrack, had a die-cast racing around it, and someone had to call the races, so that was my job. I would imagine that I was the announcer and I would call the races, so that's really where that started.
That's awesome. I did the same exact thing when I was a kid, but I was out on the picnic table out in the yard. Now, whenever you were that young and doing that, did you have a favorite driver or favorite drivers that you would put up at the front of the track?
Well, a lot of times I would put Tony Stewart. He was my favorite driver, and now I root for Martin Truex Jr.
Very cool. Both awesome racers and awesome dudes if you've ever got to talk to them before. So now you jumped into, you're on your carpet, you were doing that thing. And how did you get into iRacing, and how did you get into calling iRacing? I want to know about that.
Well, this whole pandemic, like a lot of other people, with the lack of racing that was going on, I found out about iRacing, and it seemed like a really cool thing. And so at first I thought it was cool that I could actually race online, but then I figured out that you could call races online. And I had a friend, he was my Parks and Rec basketball coach, and he raced in an iRacing league, so they let me call a few races, and from then I've had many iRacing leagues ask me to broadcast their races.
That's cool. What leagues have you called so far?
So right now I've called, it's the Short Track Superstock Series owned by Ian Martin, the iRacing Superstock League, the Short Track Super League, F&D Racing, Mason-Dixon iRacing Series, the Swag, Outlaw, Late Model Series.
Dude, you do it all, man. So do you, whenever you're doing this and you're not calling the races, do you sit and watch the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series and see what they're doing to pick up some tips and tricks on how to call a race?
Well, I just watch races for fun, but now when I'm watching races on the TV and on the internet, I'm studying what they're saying and I'm picking up on some of the stuff that they do.
That's cool. What have you picked up so far that you've learned? What was the best thing that you've learned so far?
One thing that I've tried to improve on, it's been probably the hardest thing, is definitely when I'm interviewing drivers. So when they ever do their victory interviews and stuff, I listen to what all questions they ask them and stuff whenever they win a race.
That's awesome. That is the number one thing that you got to learn is about that driver and about their race to be able to call a race really, really well. So man, you're doing the right things. I am impressed because Dave knows this, but I went to broadcasting school and I wanted to do that very, very thing, to call races. And you've got a leg up on the competition because you're 12 and doing it right now. What I want to know is what do you want to do in the future, and how do you want to, how do you want your racing career to go, but how do you want your broadcasting career to go as well?
So for racing, I'm moving up to Bandoleros this year, and I'll continue to maybe move up the ladder because while I'm racing, I'm also learning about broadcasting, because racing in a car actually helps you when you're broadcasting because you know how it feels to be a driver from that driver's standpoint.
Very, very.
And also for broadcasting, I will maybe actually do some live racing. I've announced races at Langley Speedway before, so that's probably my thing that I want to do for broadcasting.
What's your favorite type of racing to announce? Do you like dirt better? Do you like the asphalt stuff? Or, what kind of cars do you like the best?
Well, I feel like I'm very blessed to be in an area, Hampton Roads, where I'm around 3 different tracks, big variety: Richmond Raceway with the NASCAR, Virginia Motor Speedway with the dirt, and then local short track racing at Langley Speedway. For me, I prefer asphalt racing, but dirt can be really fun too.
Dave, you're going to have to convert him.
Well, Atley, I talked to your dad about this coming season. I told him I want you to come up and announce some at Virginia Motor Speedway.
That would be fun. Tonight I'm actually announcing a race for a dirt series at Weed Sport on Swag TV. So it's going to be my first dirt race that I've announced, but I'll continue to study, research it, and I'll be ready for next season.
He's going to be ready. I love it. I love the energy, and I love the enthusiasm about this, too.
Well, it's this. The thing that we probably don't delve into a whole lot is is training a new generation of kids to do this stuff. Mm-hmm. It is extremely hard to find someone to actually announce. I mean, there just aren't a ton of them out there. And so for Atley to be doing this at 12 years old, there's a Ruben Morales. He was in New Mexico, and he started at 10, and now he's doing World Outlaw stuff. And it's nice. Atley, to see that because the thing is, I don't know if Brandon knows, but you want to be a racer. You'd like to be a racer, but I think you want to be a broadcaster more than you want to be a racer.
Right. At school, I was always interested. I was wearing racing T-shirts, and nobody at school was interested or even cared about racing. And I'm like, what? How could you not care about a sport so awesome as racing? And I feel like this next generation is what racing needs to continue on throughout years and years to come.
Man, dude, we love you. We may even have you come in live one time and help us with a show. Would you do that?
Oh, of course, I'd do that. I mean, any reason to get on the mic is a reason that I would take.
I love it. I love
it. What did you're what, 6 nights a week now? I mean, your dad. That's what I think it was your dad told me.
You can go from maybe 2 nights a week to even 6 every day, except for maybe Sunday a week. It's the schedule's been getting full. We have other announcers with us. So many leagues have been asking us to announce.
Well, this is also your dad, Dayton, told me also that they took you out of regular public school, and now you're on an online school, so that you could do more of this kind of stuff.
Right. This whole pandemic has helped me branch out to new opportunities and stuff. So right now I'm going to Liberty University Online Academy, kind of like William Byron.
Dude, that is if you're going to follow a racing path, following in William Byron's steps is a pretty good way to go, I would think. So what, you're on the online school right now, but obviously you want to focus on broadcasting. Is there plans to go to Liberty? Do they have a broadcasting program? What's next for that?
I'm not actually sure if Liberty University has a broadcasting program. If so, then I might want to go towards that. In any other schools that might have a broadcasting program I'm interested in.
That's cool. Well, I am a graduate of the West Virginia University broadcasting program, and it was really good. If your dad wants to send you there, so I'll plug my own school with that. But that's awesome that you have focused on that at such a young age. I know for me, I didn't know what path I wanted to go, and you getting that early start is so cool, and your passion for racing is even cooler. What professionally do who do you see yourself as? Do you want to be a pit reporter? Do you want to be up in the booth? What is your favorite thing to do, and what would you want to do as an adult?
Oh, my favorite thing to do is probably going to be up in the booth calling the action, not like an analyst or a pit reporter, but actually calling the action side by side. Make those memorable calls that are like you remember for years.
Yes. Yeah, that's my guy right there. That is my guy.
Well, I can tell you this: we are really excited to have you on, Atley, and we're looking forward to having you on again live. We're going to have you come in and do a show.
Yep. This is
All
right.
This is your invitation.
Well, we can't thank you enough for taking some time out of your busy schedule to visit with us, my friend. And we look forward to talking to you again here very shortly.
All right. Thank you for the interview.
It was awesome.
Man, he is on time, dude.
I love all of our guests, but I've never related to a guest more than I just did with Atley. He, like, that passion and that direction, that's really, really cool to have somebody here at that young age be that passionate about that direction and doing that.
He is. I mean, it just amazes me. It really did. Just how good he was at talking to us.
Yeah,
I mean, he's 12 years old.
He's
dude.
got his stuff down. Like he's got it down.
12 years old.
At 12 years old, and he can only get better.
So cool.
Speaking of getting better,
yes, we need to make another phone call.
Yeah.
As promised, we have the president of Colleague Racing on the phone with us, Mr. Chris Rice. How you doing, Chris?
You know, guys, I'm absolutely doing amazing, but I really appreciate you asking me because I love telling everybody that.
We set you up to be happy here on the Racing Virginia podcast.
I love Virginia. I love Virginia.
Well, a great. Well, it could have been better, but a great end to the season. You had one driver make it into the Final Four, and that's a first for you guys. This team is really starting to. I know that everybody's talking about it.
Yeah.
You know, we as our competitive nature want to say, man, it could have been a better year, or darn, we wish we would have won. No, I am crazy happy where we were. I went into the Final Four knowing that, we probably were the dark horse, that nobody had talked about us, and we had to do a better job of beating those guys. So where we finished was actually, okay with me. Alex Shantz, everybody on the number 11 car done a job. Everybody back at the shop done a great job of preparing a great car. We learned a lot by going to that race, being in the championship, knowing what NASCAR does. Just understanding how to go on a championship weekend. We learned had Justin Haley done an amazing job. Ross Chastain done great. AJ Allmendinger brings a whole nother level to the program. So, I was happy with it. I would love to. It's great to be a champion, but a champion, and the Fords had us beat all year. And we definitely caught up with them a little bit, but we still hadn't got to where we needed to be.
I think most people thought that AJ was going to go full time. I think that's what everybody on social media was expecting. But you know what? I couldn't be more happier with what you guys did and bringing Jeb Burton on full time. That kid is such a hard worker, and I think he's going to do a tremendous job for you guys.
Everybody has beat us up, or not really beat us up, wants AJ to run full time, but they got to remember, AJ has an NBC career. He's happy where he's at in life. He enjoys our race team and making us better, so that's key. AJ's a great fit for where he's at, right? You're right. Everybody thought that, but the Jeb Burton deal, the Burtons, the Halifax County native, we both graduated from the same high school, which is cool. It was a great fit for Nutrient Solutions, Colleague Racing. Jeb's gave his heart and soul to being a full-time vehicle that was competitive. He's done things that was just kind of, I don't want to call them ride-arounds, but that's what they were, just ride-arounds. And had a great opportunity at Junior Motorsports. He had some ups and downs, and he turned some heads. So it's going to be good. It's not going to be easy. Not going to sit here and lie, because when you jump into a car that just had the best average finish of anybody, and that 10 car did, you're going to put a lot of pressure on yourself.
I want to know what that process was like to get Jeb in there. Obviously, he has worked really hard, but did he come to you guys? Did you guys come to him? How was that?
Well, I had talked to Jeb Burton quite a few times about the partners he had, the things he had, and how could we make it work at Colleague Racing. Now, the Nutrient Solutions deal was totally different, and I told a radio show last night, I was like, that was so different that it's kind of fun to watch and look at. But the big thing was we needed a farmer. We needed somebody that fit Nutrient Solutions. We needed somebody that belonged and that could talk the farmer lingo. I've been to some farmer conferences when we had family farmers, but if I go now to a appearance with the farmers, I can have a good time with them and I can talk. But if they talk about a tractor or what they're doing with the land, man, I'm going to be in left field. So we needed somebody that understood that. Jeb was a good candidate for that. We had some other options and some different things, and it just fit. So we actually reached back out to Jeb and kind of told him what we were looking at. And, his partners don't have enough money to go full time. They don't have that backing yet. They can, and they might. But what we needed to do was be able to put some partners with Jeb's partners and our partners at College Racing and be able to make it work. So that's kind of the way it went down in a short story, but it was actually fun.
No, we all watched the video, and with him and you and Ward and all that. Since you guys were having that conversation, it looked like he was obviously really surprised that he got full time. Like, how did you guys set that up to make it sort of a surprise and put that video together?
Well, that's all on me. I'll take full blame for that because I brought them guys down, Ward and Jeb, and I was just telling them that it didn't look like the Nutrient Solutions deal was going to work. I was really concerned about it. Hadn't had much conversation. I might have fabricated some deals and set it up to where they was, look, hey, you're just going to meet these guys, but they're not going to do anything. But you need to meet them, and we need to figure out what we can do with your partners because I got to, Matt Colling, myself, we got to figure out what we're going to do with the 10 car. And so they were prepared just to say thank you. We appreciate the opportunity and move on. They had no idea that we were going to offer for him to be the Nutrient Solutions driver. Matt Colling is 100% the guy that allows us to be able to say, okay, we're going to run 33 races. Now let's go find a sponsorship, right? Mm-hmm. Well, he was the one that, obviously was like, hey, want to offer you 33 races, and he had no idea. I think he's still in shock today because really it's on a handshake. I mean, our program's on a handshake. It is until we get everything finalized. And, we as College Racing love handshakes, but we know it's contract driven and stuff like that. But it set them up, and I think Ward is still really emotional also because, as a dad, if you're dad, you want your kid to succeed. You want to live your life through your kid. You want your kid in the best stuff. Your kid never does anything wrong. I mean, I spent many times on a ball field trying to tell a coach my daughter was the best, knowing, I know that she's probably not the best one out there on a basketball court, whatever it may be. So he was just as probably more excited than Jeb, which makes me happy.
That's awesome because obviously you've seen Ward and Jeb both do a fantastic job promoting their sponsors on social media. Did that factor into Nutrient Solutions to say, hey, look, they are always out there promoting their sponsors and doing the best they possibly can for their partners?
I got to be honest with you. We really didn't look at that much. We looked at the fact that he could relate with our farmers, because it's all driven around Nutrient Solutions farmers and what we do, activation at the racetrack and how we do it. And we knew he could have conversations with them. So, yes, he does a great job on social media. He does an amazing job, putting his partners out there for all the fans to see, letting everybody see behind his life, because that's what people like to see. Like, if you follow me on social media, people love to see what you do on the outside. Like, they love the racing part, but they want to know what you're doing. I'm going to go on vacation on Wednesday, and I'm going to show everybody what I do because everybody loves that, right? Like, I'm not going to hide it.
You're taking a vacation?
I'm going to take a vacation. My phone will still be with me, but
slacker?
Yeah, I know it. I only work part-time, just part-time.
And it doesn't hurt that Jeb he's a good driver. I mean, he's got talent.
I started watching him after we got this deal going, and he had a couple of bad races. And I told him this. I called him out to Texas, and I'm like, "Hey, what happened to you? Blah blah. Because we gotta be here. And he's like, talks to me about it, and then I watch him at Martinsville, and he's running behind AJ, and AJ don't care. He'll tell you what he's thinking in a minute, right? Like he doesn't care. And AJ and myself and him, we actually had Jeb. This is where people I can't even believe didn't figure it out. But we had Jeb come to Phoenix to meet with the Nutrient Solutions people. He was in the suite with those guys, and got to meet them. So AJ told him there. He says, like, dude, whatever it may be. And Ward was standing there and goes, Jeb, did you do that? And then Ward's like, Jeb's like, yeah. He says, boy, you got to listen to AJ. It was so funny. It was so good. But Jeb does a great job. He's going to be great with Justin Haley.
Yes.
Justin Haley's third year, super, super excited about that. But he's going to be great if he believes in what Justin Haley is telling him and what A.J. Allmendinger might tell him or what I might tell him. Dude, he'll jumpstart his year. He'll hit the ground running at Homestead, one of our worst racetracks, college racing's worst racetrack. I am so glad we're getting it out of the way early. And he will he'll do it this year.
The one thing about college racing that I thoroughly enjoy, and it comes across on social media, is it's not just a couple of racers, because there's a lot of teams out there where the racers don't get along very well, but your team, very cohesive, very much like family.
Well, we drive it that way. Matt Collick, myself, we try to figure out what's the best fit for people. We do it in our shop too. And if you don't fit in, we tell people that we hire, the hardest part you're going to have working here is fitting in. If you don't fit in, you don't belong. You got to become our family. You got to love us. You got to care about us. Now, you don't have to go to dinner with me. You don't have to call me at 7 o'clock and tell me that, hey, I'm going to bed. None of that, but you have to be family. You got to love your guy that's working right beside you and know that Matt Collick owns every race car. He owns all of these race cars, so you're going to work on everything. You're not just going to work on a 10, 11, or 16. Once you do that and you fit in, man, it's contagious. When you love your partner, your guy that's beside you working, everybody else starts loving you. So it's contagious. So I do the same thing with the drivers. If you don't get along, I'm going to bring you in the office, all three of you, and put a cup of milk and some cookies out in front of you and say, hey, are we going to handle this like grown men, or are we going to handle it like a bunch of kids? What are we going to do here?
Oh, man, speaking of family, we've got our Racing Virginia family here. Is it just a plus for your new relationship with Jeb? Both of you are Sobo guys, coming up kind of the same way and being part of that Racing Virginia family.
I believe it is, and I believe it's just a fact that, I grew up, my dad, my uncle, and bless my uncle's soul, he's gone to heaven now, and but I grew up in racing, and then they went on after they finished racing. We done Jeff Burton's car. My dad was crew chief. My uncle helped on it. I was just a little punk kid, just doing whatever it took to be around that race car. And Ward was the other Burton at the time. It was Jeff Burton was our guy, and Ward was the other Burton. And for Jeb to come around now and work with us and be on our team, I FaceTimed with him last night. His mom was there, his wife was there, and Ward was there. They were doing some kind of cooking show. They all had aprons on. It reminded me of South Boston, right? Like, It reminded me that that's the way we are. They're still grounded enough to do that. And I love everybody in South Boston. I love going back home, seeing how it changed, seeing some people that I might have not seen in a long time from school. So it just keeps us grounded. I'm very fortunate to have Matt Collick in my life and the Collick family. So to have a race team like this and be able to run it, I've just been super fortunate to have the people to help me do it. Laney Chandler, Justin Cox, all those guys be able to help me do this. And to have Jeb and the South Boston group with me in this journey that I'm going through right now is pretty cool.
Nutriag Solutions and, of course, Brent Smith, man, they are great partners.
Couldn't ask for. Leaf Filter Gutter Protection has been an amazing partner. Everybody thinks, well, that's Matt's company. Yeah. Well, they're actually a partner. They sponsor us. They give real dollars and they do real things. But to have Leaf Filter Gutter Protection, Nutrient Solutions, that be those kind of partners, and we can't even forget about FOE. Fraternal Order of Eagles that with Justin Haley, Ellsworth Advisors. We have so many great partners that I can't even rank them. They're all number one to me. But, Brent Smith, Brett Griffin, Nicole, all of those people that helped drive that Nutrient Solutions deal believe in colleague racing and believe in what we do. And that just shows that, we lost Ross Chastain to the Cup side, which is fine, which we're happy about. But for them to stay in racing and still do this and still want to do this just makes me so proud of our race team for what we have done, what we have built. But they're just amazing partners, yes. And
you have put those partners in victory lane a couple times last year with Justin. You got him in the championship for. AJ had so much success, and now to what would it mean to get Nutrien and Jeb, that combination, in victory lane next year?
Well, I told Jeb this. I said, hey, bud, it's on your shoulders. We need to win with Nutrien Solutions, so let's make it happen. It would just mean a lot. It's like when Leaf Filter Gutter Protection got in victory lane, I cried like a little baby, like I was a baby. But we can get Nutrien Solutions in victory lane and let them enjoy the moment. We had the fire suit in victory lane, but we haven't had the race car in victory lane. If we could do that with Jeb Burton, his first ever Xfinity win, that would show that our team is for real. We take people and we make winners out of them and win trophies, and that's what we're about. So we're trophy hunting with him, and we're not going to let up until he wins the trophy.
Well, and from the outside looking in, Colleague Racing is set up to be very successful in the years to come. I mean, you have put together a great program. I was very happy to see Justin decide to stay in the Xfinity because I think he has a chance, a real good chance, at winning the championship next year because of his experience. And then you add Jeb to the crew, and of course AJ. I mean, he's kind of like the father figure, I'm sure, or big brother figure to these guys. And I mean, when people talk about Colleague Racing, they don't just talk. They talk about how you have built this, and that maybe this is leading towards something maybe bigger in the future, where you guys maybe go cup racing.
And I appreciate that. It gives me cold chills when people ask me that, and we have built it that way. We built it to where it's set up to win. It wins trophies and get the best drivers in here and do the best things. And Justin Haley, I feel like he's got the best shot there is. He's been in the Final Four one time. He knows how to race. He's probably one of the best racers I've ever been around. He's not flashy. He's not going to be that guy on social media. He's sitting there pits. He's loaded his Leaf Filter Gutter Protection dirt car up, headed down Volusia. But, he's not that guy. But he's going to be there at the end, just like the other day. He was there at the end, had a bad restart, wrong line. He maybe could have finished second. He was getting ready past the 7, would have been second in points. And that's what he's all about. Yep. That's what Justin Haley's all about. So, super excited about that. Super excited about how we can win trophies. I just got to convince AJ to run at least one race. Right now, I convinced him to run one race.
Well, I would imagine that a road course would be in his future.
Yeah.
Man, he's got a good TV deal, guys. You can't forget that.
No, true.
And he's good at it too, is the thing. And speaking of the road course, I did want to ask you this because obviously you're not going to give away your future plans, but they are testing that new next gen car on a road course at Charlotte yesterday, actually. What is that car going to bring to the sport in terms of saving money and just everything that has to do with that from a team perspective?
Well, I think it's all yet to be determined. We all wanted to save a lot of money and be able to let the small guy be the big guy. But in reality, it's not going to do that. But hopefully it brings down the price some to where, a company can come in and sponsor a race team for half a year. We can get those Lowe's and those FedEx, those tile sponsors back in the sport that want the full year. Right now, it's just so doggone expensive that you got to have multitudes of sponsors. Even Kyle Busch's car is different at different places.
Yep.
So we need to be able to get the dollar figures down to where those sponsors can come back in and get some brand awareness. If you think about Colleague Racing, we get brand awareness. Leaf Filter Gutter Protection, Nutrien Solutions, Ellsworth Advisors. We get brand recognition because those guys can afford where our price point's at.
Yeah. Yep.
And we got to get Cup down to that, and hopefully that new car does that. I don't know where it's at. Yes, I've been watching that. I've been looking at that. I've been wanting that to be one of our goals at college racing, but man, we're not there yet. Everybody asks, go cup race? Love to go cup racing if it fits into our fold. The
one thing that people talk about is that, the Xfinity Series actually races better than the Cup Series in a lot of cases. And, a lot of guys would like to see the Xfinity package in Cup.
Yeah, and we see that. We see that trend. It all changes. We need to see passing. And right now, the Xfinity cars are great, but you got to think about the tire. The tire's driven off the Cup car. So when you throw that tire on the Xfinity car, those things drive like crap. I do iRacing just because I love it and it's fun. And I hear these guys talk about this on iRacing. Like when I go to a race, they're like, these Xfinity cars drive awful. The Cup car drives easy. And so they're right. And it's just driven off the tire and how things work. So it's fun to watch. It's fun to hear fans talk about it. And I'm glad that everybody likes the Xfinity racing because that's where we're at.
Well, regardless of the tire, regardless of the package, we here at the Racing Virginia podcast can't wait to see what you guys have in store for the entirety of college racing, but we're going to be paying special attention to how Jeb Burton from right here in Virginia does in that car, and it's going to be so exciting.
Well, I appreciate you guys, and thanks for all the support for the Virginia race fans and all you Virginia race fans and whoever listens to it. We love you, and keep following us at College Racing or my account. It's always fun to watch.
It's always fun. You're right about that.
Man, we know you're busy, so we can't thank you enough for taking the time to visit with us, man. And we're going to have Jeb on again. We wanted to kind of wait a little bit on him, let it settle in a little bit, and then we'll have him back on and talk about the emotion that it was, because that video that you guys produced was badass. Okay,
I love it.
The raw emotion that came from it, you guys should be commended for that as well. And again, thanks for being on the show and being so accommodating.
Well, thank you guys, and I appreciate it. Look forward to talking to you again before Christmas and the Daytona 500.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Let's do it.
All right, thanks, Chris.
All right, guys.
Bye-bye.
See you guys.
Man, he is really a cool dude.
Yeah.
I know exactly why college racing is the way it is.
Yep.
You listen to the emotion, how excited he is when he talks. That comes down from the top and just rolls right downhill to everybody else.
And you can see it whenever that team does well on the track, everybody supports one another. You saw Ross, and AJ and Justin.
That one picture from this year where they were hugging each other.
Yep.
That was cool.
That was cool, and that comes, like you said, from Chris right there at the top.
Man, what a show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Infectious. I'm
hyped up.
Yeah, I'm hyped. I'm ready to,
Dude, Atley still is, that kid is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't wait to have him on, and I can't wait to go and listen to some more of his stuff, because it's really cool to listen to, like I said, somebody that passionate about the sport.
Do you know, I was not joking about, it would be cool to go down to Colleague and do a show, have Chris and Jeb on.
Yeah. Yeah,
at the same time, and just do a
Racing Virginia riff.
Yeah, something down there. It's something different. Those guys are cool.
Yeah. You're right. We talked about this over and over and over again. We have some of the coolest most wonderful folks here in the motorsports industry here in Virginia.
And if I knew he wasn't busy, I'd run real quick out and grab the big boss man.
Big boss man Dennis.
But we saw the conference table.
Yeah. Well, we're preparing for our 75th anniversary celebration here at Richmond Raceway.
Please, folks, cross your fingers that we get out of this COVID stuff. We got a few months to get it done, folks. We need fans in the grandstands, and be honest with you, I can't take another year of not running.
No,
at Virginia Motor Speedway, it will absolutely kill me.
Yep.
So, but man, I'm really
pumped up, man. We're pumped up.
I'm in level right now is crazy.
Yep. No, that I keep saying it was cool. I need to expand my vocabulary a little bit more. You think I went to journalism school, I'd do that.
But we talk about this all the time. that we have some of the best drivers, crew members, people that have really made it to the top from the state of Virginia. And it's only growing. It really is only growing. There's a lot of news coming out, about schedules for next year. That's looking cool. So we just got to keep pushing the envelope. We can't thank you enough, the listener. And if you have subscribed to one of the podcast platforms, thank you. If you haven't, what are you waiting for? It's the easiest way to listen to this podcast. I know you probably would like to, you've gotten used to it over 2 years going to the website.
Yeah.
Okay. And you can download it from there. Yes. But it helps us if you can go and subscribe to the big one, one of the big ones. Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Apple Podcasts is huge because if we can get a bunch of you guys to go at one time, we might even show up on, in some of the top,
the trending
category. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be. Would love that.
But Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, Amazon. I can't believe we're on there. That was hard to get on.
Hey, you did it, man. You did it.
We were one of the first to get approved, so that's kind of cool. So those are the main ones, but there are tons of them. Spreaker, Stitcher, Diesel. I mean, there's a whole
You're
lot
just
of
making stuff up now.
Pod Chaser, Pod this, Pod that. I mean, it's a ton of them. Okay, so if we're not on your podcast platform, let us know, and we will attempt to get it on there. I think I got it on just about everything.
You did a good job, Dave. You did a good job.
Well, we just need to get people to go that way to listen. Yep. Okay, and you need to spread the word. We need you to share this to all your friends. So that we can grow this show. We can get Virginia drivers out in the public knowledge. Get the and give them some credit and make some stars. I promise you this: Atley Wiese is going to be a superstar.
Absolutely,
he's going to be a superstar. It may not be in racing, but
it'll be in motorsport.
If in the
motorsports
arena,
realm.
he is going to be a superstar. And of course, Chris Rice is already a superstar. He's he's president of Colga Racing.
If you just follow him on social media, you know he's a superstar.
He's not shy, not at all.
No.
Well, we love him, and man, it's again to have Jeb Burton join Colga Racing with Chris Rice. When I saw that, when you sent it to me, I was like, that is badass right there.
Mm-hmm. Too cool.
It's just too cool. Well, if you're not following us on social media, what are you waiting for?
At Racing Virginia on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. We got all our shows on there too.
Yep. And what else? We'll book a new show for you next week.
And come check us out.
Come check us out. Yeah.
If you got time, go listen to some of the older podcasts.
If you haven't, there's some really good podcasts. I'm not gonna say anything, but we've done a pretty good job this year.
We have. Go to all the show titles because we've got the guests on there. We've racked up some of the best personalities in the entire state all together.
I'm going to say his name again, Tyler Crossnow.
He's awesome.
That dude works hard.
Yep.
I mean, they had an event this past weekend, and with the weather, man, those guys just they do scraping right in the late in the night.
Drag racing work is not easy work at all.
And I thought it was. I swear to God. I thought, you just spray some stuff down, put a little water down.
It's whew, man.
Yeah, I had no idea. I really didn't. But yeah, we got some great personalities, and we're going to keep it up. We're going to have all kinds of folks over the winter. Try to introduce you to some new folks so that maybe you find a new favorite to follow or someone that you would enjoy following. Yep. So we're going to keep it up through the end of the year, and we're closing in on 100 shows. Today's 91.
It is 91, man.
Yeah.
That's 9 to go.
91. I give you when he first came into racing, Jimmy Johnson, he drove Bill Meyer, the late model stock car, 91.
Did he really?
Yep.
A late model?
Yep.
Interesting. That was a little tidbit of information I did not know.
I was lucky enough to have a chance to interview him, and at Myrtle Beach of all places.
Yeah.
I had seen it. He had come to South Boston, and then I announced. But I did a live show at the November show at the late Myrtle Beach because it's gone now. And I didn't believe him. He said he had been hired by Chevrolet. He was a contract driver, and I said, "Oh, come on now, you're just coming over from that road route, not road rally, but the Baja stuff,
the
trucks." And he pulled out his wallet and handed me the credit card, and it said, "Jimmy Johnson, GM, performance."
I think he's posted that on his social media before. I've seen that, so that's hilarious.
So he had it, and so. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that we're going to be doing over the winter. So just hang in with us, folks. Hang in with us. For Brandon Brown, I'm Dave C. saying thank you for listening, and to remember to keep racing, Virginia.